Hey guys, welcome in. This is Matt Miller with Political Brawl, and Trump today at the Kennedy Center just went off at the woke left Democrats and revealed his secret plan for dealing with their agenda. This was a hilarious moment. Watch it right here.
Kamala, who's the same basic thing, grossly incompetent. He was incompetent. They're all incompetent because their policies are incompetent. Open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody. I mean, they got the worst policy. I don't talk about it too much because if I talk about it, they might change. So, no, I don't talk about it. I tell people, don't talk about it. Wait till 2 weeks before the election and hit the hell out of them. Right? We talked about that, right, Elon? He said, we wait 2 weeks before. It's almost like you're in a war. Don't shoot yet. Don't shoot. Hold your fire. The enemy's rushing. Hold your fire. Don't shoot. Okay, now you can go. 2 weeks before. But I watched a guy the other day, a congressman, fighting for men playing in women's sports. And the new weightlifting record for a certain weight was just set. The man was 119 pounds higher than a woman champion who was a phenomenal champion. Beat her by 119, and he was an average lifter prior to transitioning. A lot of the Saudis are sitting here saying, what the hell is he talking about transition? They don't do a lot of transitioning. They're sitting here, the Saudis are saying, what is he talking about? They're saying, what do you mean women are playing against men? No, that doesn't happen, does it? Yeah, it does. These people are crazy.
And we saw a little friendly gesture there to Elon Musk, who must be sitting in the crowd. That's great to see. And we also saw, I think it was yesterday, Trump looked like he pat Elon Musk on the shoulder as he was walking by. So hopefully those guys made up. So what Trump's pointing out here is a very keen observation, I think. There's two types of Democrats, in my opinion. There are the radical leftist ideologues who want to radically change our society, completely overhaul it, and they want to undermine Western traditional values. And then there's the Democrats who are more in the middle, more just like regular Joes, but they know that they have to cater to this radical sect of their political wing in order to win elections, because so much of their base are made up of these radical people who believe that a 200-pound man should go and wrestle women in women's wrestling, or that there are no biological realities and men can compete in women's sports and that this is the right moral thing to do. I feel like I guess Charlie Kirk did an amazing job at this. Steven Crowder waging the culture war to expose to most common sense, reasonable Americans that these ideas have no place here, right? So we're tolerant and respectful of people, however they identify. We're not bullying people. We're not attacking people for whatever they identify as, or part of the LGBT community or whatever. But when you cross the line and you start to encroach on fairness and safety in competitive women's sports, or you want to start having biological males enter into women's locker rooms, that's where we draw the line. Or if you're trying to indoctrinate our kids into believing this stuff or to identify in these ways that are not healthy for them, you're trying to bring them into this harmful and self-destructive ideology. No, that's where we've drawn the line in the culture war, and I feel like we're winning. I mean, that's why Trump won so overwhelmingly. And most Americans resonate with that sort of idea. Trump had another hilarious moment today. I want to show you guys right here. And I want to hear what your thoughts are in the comments.
Everything was a scam. Green. Look, I'm all for the environmental, everything. I'm all for climate change. You know, they have new word, climate change. Used to be global warming. It's global warming. Well, that didn't work because it started coming down. They did the global cooling thing. Then they just said, we can't keep up with this. It's too much. So we'll go, perfect words, climate change. They're covered. If it rains, if it snows, if it's warm, it's climate change is destroying the world. Remember, the world was supposed to have been gone 2 years ago. They gave us 12 years, Howard, to live, right? 12 years. But that was 14 years ago. The world was going to burn up, but it got actually much cooler. They know these people. It's a little conspiracy out there. We have to investigate them immediately. They probably are being investigated.
You got to love when Trump just goes off like a stand-up comedian. And, there's a lot of people that hate him for it. They don't like his personality. I think he's hilarious, down to earth, relatable. And what he gets to in the beginning, when he says, look, I'm all for the environmental protection. I'm for the environment. I also think that most conservatives feel like that, too. I mean, I do, for one. I care about protecting our planet, a clean environment. And I'm not going to make any sort of scientific claims here. I'm not a scientist. I'm ignorant on this topic. But what I do know is that the left, for decades now, has used this climate change slogan to batter Republicans and conservatives over the head to force in socialist big government policies. They've used it to kind of as a disguise for their political agenda. Why is the solution to the climate issue always socialism and left-wing politics? That's pretty suspicious. And I think that we see that pretty clearly now, too. And where is the condemnation of China and other countries that are contributing to climate change much more than America is? China has very little regard for the environment. They are all about industry competitiveness at all costs. They're huge on coal. They're huge on petroleum and oil. And their environmental impact is much larger than the United States. And if you're going to be a climate change activist, please start with China. I don't know if is that too much to ask. He is just going off today at the Kennedy Center. Let's see what this one is.
Hundreds of 4 long years, Joe Biden secured less than $1 trillion. In 9 short months, I've secured $18 trillion to rebuild our factories, create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and bring back those beautiful words, made in America. So think of that. He did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. And in 9 months, we've done more than $18 trillion. Okay. That's called success.
And then he's talking about other big economic wins so far in the first year of his administration. I think Trump in some ways is an underdog when it comes to his economic agenda. There's a lot of naysayers, and it's a little unorthodox for modern American economic policy, especially when it comes to protectionism, when it comes to the reshoring that he's trying to do. And I think that what he's trying ultimately to do is to deliver tangible economic results for the working class that made up his base and put him in office a second time. And yes, he is going against convention. He is doing things that are out of the box, and a lot of economists have issues with. But I think that it's interesting to draw the parallels between the populist left and the populist right when they're approaching economic rhetoric. It sounds very similar to me. I don't know, maybe you guys have some input here in the comments, but the Trump administration, the MAGA movement, the America First movement is trying to address affordability. They're trying to address the hollowing out of America and the working class communities that experience such detrimental impact during the offshoring that we saw in the 90s and the early 2000s. And really this elitist Washington, D.C. establishment class that sold out American communities all across the country, hardworking blue-collar workers that no longer have jobs, that are finding it hard to have jobs because we're offshoring to China, to India, and for cheaper wages. That's another reason, too, that the establishment wants illegal immigration, is to have cheap labor that can undermine American workers. And this is a very deep-rooted problem. Again, I'm not an economist, but I would say that what we want to see is a real economy exist where American workers can make up a domestic economy that is effective and healthy and doesn't sell out our working class overseas to people working in sweatshops, or that we need to bring in millions and millions of people from the third world who are going to work for less than minimum wage under the table. These are not good solutions to the chronic economic problems we're facing. And I would say that a lot of this starts with progressive and leftist policies. It comes back to minimum wage and our robust welfare state that attracts so many people here, and they know that they can reap government benefits on the taxpayer's dime. The minimum wage drives inflation, and it creates an impossible situation for businesses who can't afford to hire American workers. So again, I want to see a real economy, a healthy economy, a completely rewired, healthy American economy exist in this country where we're not dependent on foreign entities to make sure that we can feed ourselves and make sure that we can defend ourselves with our defense. So much of our defense apparatus is offshored as well in countries that are adversarial to us in many ways. So these are major problems that the Trump administration is trying to address. And I like to see this agenda to make our economy work for the American people again, and not just corporations who have sold out the American people. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell so you guys get notified when we post brand new videos here on Political World News. And I'll see you guys next time.